All right, guys, and welcome back to the OUT-BUR podcast. This is your host, Life of Palm, and Wilsis is also joining us, as well as Marcus. And Keaton is also going to be chiming in a few times. I don't know how much he'll say, though, but right now we are watching the Giants and 49ers live. I'll let the other hosts introduce themselves, but as always, thank you guys for watching. We really do appreciate the support.
Let's go, guys. I'm excited to bring you all another episode of the OUTBUR pod. I'm excited to be with two of my good buddies, Keaton and Wesso. We're going to be diving into a lot of different topics today, but I'm going to let Wesso give you a little bit of an introduction and we'll jump right in.
What up, guys? It's Wes. So I don't really know what we're talking about today, but we're going to go along with it. You know the deal, you know the drill. Watching the 49ers Giants game. Giants need this stuff. I say 49ers got it, but we'll keep you updated along the way. Keaton, you got anything to say, brother?
And I don't watch too much football, but the Giants are my favorite team.
I don't really
Okay.
think. I don't
Go
really think your
Giants.
boy Daniel Jones has got what it takes, my friend.
Eh.
We'll see. We'll see.
And a
We'll
quick
see.
word.
Hopefully,
I was about to say, quick little word from our sponsor here. Will, go ahead.
Of course.
As always, thank
So
you
we
for sponsoring the pod.
we always got to shout out the boys, the fine crew over at Kentucky Lawn Rescue, located in Central Kentucky. As always, the link will be fit in the description. We cannot thank them enough for the help, the support, the financial backing, and lifeblood of the OUTBUR pod. So shout out to those boys, and let's get right in. So this episode is going to be a little different. We're going to be starting the week with, I think it's appropriate, we're watching the Thursday night game. We're just going to be talking about the football weekend from last Saturday to up to this Thursday, and just kind of go over what we saw there, some of the moves that's been made in the college football world as well as the professional football world. So some things that jump out at me right away is the all the injuries we've seen
Yeah, I mean
throughout
Joe
the
Burrow.
league from some of our superstar. Joe Burrow's down. Nick Chubb suffered a rough injury playing the Steelers this Sunday.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm trying to recall more big ones. If you guys can think of some other big
I
injuries,
You
feel
got
mean,
free to just
Rogers and
blurb.
Chubb.
I was about to say
Rogers or Chubb,
Rogers,
biggest ones.
Chubb, Burrow. I mean, you're just like, but also, I mean, like Joe Burrow's was not even really an injury. Um, and people are like not playing games because their calves hurt or something like that. It's seriously kind of sad. Guys
Yeah,
used to play football with broken collarbone.
Burrow's had something that's been nagging him. Another person is Jonathan Taylor, Colts running back. He's kind of sat out for the first part of the year due to his ankle, but he should be returning pretty soon. And he's a key factor. The Colts will be pretty good when he comes back.
No, they'll be a force to be reckoned with once that guy gets healthy, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Something I thought was incredibly interesting was all the hype and drama surrounding Coach Prime, Colorado versus Colorado State, and the game itself was an instant classic. I mean, me and Palmer watched it together. Marcus, I think you were watching it, but how about that one?
I mean, it was absolute perfection of how a football game should go, but obviously we didn't think that it was going to go that way. We thought that they were going to blow them out of the water, and turns out Colorado State puts up a pretty good little football. They're a pretty good little football club. It seems like when they want to be, but also like kudos to Deion Sanders' son.
Yeah, sure. He's the
Yeah,
real deal, man.
he really. I mean, yeah, I was about to say they really cooked.
Throughout 3 games, he has 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and a pick. And he's putting up a pretty good run for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah,
But I mean, he has Oregon this Saturday. prime time. That's prime time college football right there. Against I think number 10 Oregon, number 19 Colorado. We'll see if he has it or not in that one.
I mean, that's going to be a tough game. If you almost just lost to Colorado State.
Yeah, and Bo Nix, I believe, Oregon's quarterback. I think he started like more. He's been their quarterback for quite a few years. He's probably started more games than any other quarterback in the nation.
Huh.
Like,
Didn't know
and
that.
Yeah,
he's
he's
been
been there
playing
quite
since
a while.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been
In
playing
terms of the
longer than
big
I've been in
teams,
school.
he was at Auburn for a minute, but in
Huh.
terms of the big name teams, he has more experience. So
We just got a
probably
pass
90% of the
interference right
quarterbacks.
there.
Yeah, against the
Um,
49ers, and I saw it. It looked legitimate.
yeah, it's right now it's third.
Touchdown, Giants.
Yeah, touchdown Giants. It's right now it's the third. 10 minutes left. 10 minutes even. They Giants just scored,
Matt Breida.
so it's now 12-17. Probably going to be 13-17 if they kick a field goal and make it. But that was a nice little run from him there. I mean, they
Oh, I think Saquon's hurt as well.
I was gonna say that was
really.
actually something. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad we just caught that because I remember at work, Saquon's out with a. If somebody could pull that up, so I'm not wrong, but I believe it's some sort of leg injury. I'm just not entirely sure, but it didn't sound good. It sounded kind of nasty. So we're wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, high ankle
But back
sprain.
to this,
He'll probably be out for about a
yeah,
month.
yeah, about a month. Okay, yeah. So he'll bounce back from that and he'll keep the ball rolling. But back to this Coach Prime. I mean, so I don't know if you all know this, but Colorado State's coach was talking loud, talking smack, talking reckless towards your boy Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He said, I don't know how you're raised, but my father taught me when you talking to adults, you take your hat and sunglasses off, and if you all aren't familiar with Coach Prime, Dion likes to wear shades and ball caps at any given time. He'll wear his chain. He doesn't care who he's talking to. He could be talking to the athletic director. He could be talking to a player. He could be talking to the water boy. Dion moves the same. It pissed off the Colorado State guy. He's more of a traditional, more of an old school kind of cat. And Coach Prime, on prime time, beat his ass on the world stage in front
I
of
mean,
everybody.
did he beat
Something
his
else,
ass though? I mean, he damn near almost lost,
he
and
damn near almost did.
they had to pull a touchdown with a 2 point conversion out of their ass in the last minute. I mean, it was crazy. Like I was saying, like one of the best football games that I've seen in the last couple of years. Like that's like a real football game, like how it used to be.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good
like
stuff.
hype. Like people were like when you're up at like 1:32 in the morning watching a football game, like you know it's good.
Double OT.
well, that
Yeah, double
and
OT.
to your point, it's double OT. It's 1 a.m. over here on the East Coast, and they're playing on the West Coast. Something I actually saw today
Mountain
on
time.
X. Yeah, they're on Mountain Time, not Pacific Time. You're right. Something I saw today on X. They, ESPN, who aired the game, that was one of their top 5 most watched sporting events aired anything in the history of ESPN. And
Was
I
it
mean,
really?
we know how big. Yes, top 5 all time biggest viewership.
Hmm, that's
Wow.
crazy.
And I forgot. Yeah, I mean, bigger than some of the NCAA tournaments or BCS championships, any of that. College football national championship rather.
Yeah, so just imagine the Oregon game.
Yes, exactly. There's going to be a lot of fuel headed into this coming weekend for that one. You know what else? There's a lot of fuel for, a lot of hype surrounding, a lot of back and forth in the social media atmosphere. The boys over at Apple decided to drop the new 15 on us. What do y'all think? What do you think of the new iOS 17? So I'm
I
eager to hear what my buddies
Horse
think.
shit.
haven't got to use it yet, but I've looked into it a little bit. Seems like a lot of the features that Apple's adding is a lot of stuff that's either from Android phones that we've already seen in the smartphone market for a while, or it's things that
Yeah.
you can interact with other iPhones with. They added the little touch contact thing where you can like bump your phone with another person's
Yes.
iPhone. It'll like
Yes.
share your whole contact card and all
Which
your
fucking
information.
It'll share.
Samsung's been doing that forever.
Samsung's been doing that, and
Yeah. And I mean, the
Well,
screens in the iPhones are all Samsung. Basically, everything that Apple's doing is Samsung.
yeah, I
except
just
their
like the way,
software.
yeah, except their software. They're just a cleaner. They just seem cleaner to me.
I mean, I
Cleaner,
don't know.
sleeker,
I've,
slimmer.
I don't
yeah,
know. Slimmer? No, no, sir.
Here's
No,
my
sir.
here's my
And have
issue
you
with
ever and have you ever
Samsung.
used Snapdragon compared to iOS? Different.
I don't like open source. I hate open source.
Snapdragon's is proprietary, or not
All
proprietary.
Sna-
It's Snapdragon is privately owned, I think, or not. It's I don't know if it's privately owned,
all
but fuck.
proprietary
all Android
seasoning tool.
softwares are all Android softwares run on an open source. Only Apple stuff is secured in the cloud. But let's not even get into that. What I think's interesting about this new Apple iPhone 15, and I'm not even a gamer, so I'm interested to hear what y'all think. They've added a shit ton of GPU, so now
What's
you're
the
able
GPU at? Well,
to. I don't recall, but I know you can run most console games through your iPhone 15 now. Um, and they demonstrated some of the more popular ones. Off the top of my head, I can't. I mean, like y'all know me, I'm not really a gamer, but
Yeah,
I brought that up
it all
because
has to do with the A17 Pro chipset that Apple introduced. It's a brand new chip.
yeah,
I feel like it's in.
I mean, I
I don't
feel
know.
like
it's
that's what
not. This is their
I feel
first
like that's what
phone.
you're
It's their
paying
first
for.
phone in it.
I feel like that's what you're paying
This is
for.
their
I
first
mean,
phone. I agree, Palmer, and they've upgraded the storage by like 20 megabytes, which, and they upgraded the cost. It's $200 more than we anticipated going into these new iPhones because I keep up with Apple News. It's $200 more, so you're pretty much paying for the GPU and the uh
6 gigabytes of
the
RAM, 3.46
well, you're
yeah,
gigahertz,
also you're also paying
or
you're also
3.7
paying.
gigahertz.
If you think about it, you're also paying for um the residuals they got to pay to Samsung for the screen.
exactly for using their tech, using their
Yeah, because
technology.
if you think that
Something else
Apple's
is
gonna
kind of
make,
interesting.
what I'm saying, Apple's gonna make you pay for that. They ain't gonna pay for
Yeah, they're not going to pay for it. The
that.
customer's going to pay
Yeah,
for it. They're
like,
Apple. They're the big
yeah,
dog.
you think I'm gonna pay for
But
that shit?
something else interesting with this Apple stuff is and you all know this. I think most of our listeners know this, but I'll just put it out there if they didn't already. They've upgraded to the USB-C. They say over in England that y'all aren't selling Apple no more in England unless you upgrade to this USB-C. And so they have. And how do you think that's going to affect the market with the e-waste and all this kind of, Apple likes to make us buy the Apple products. What's going to happen now that they're on the USB-C?
By e-waste, do you mean like all the old chargers that will be getting rid of? Like all the old
Yeah,
product,
chargers, old tech that is no longer, the iPhone
right?
headphones that use the old headphone jack. Look, those are worthless now. And so yeah, that's
Right.
kind of e-waste tech that has no other purpose and is just clutter now. What do y'all think?
I
Mm,
mean, it can be recycled, no?
yeah.
It can be.
You
And
remember what I
Apple,
was telling you about, Marcus? That grinder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that's gonna catch on here in the next year or so, to where
well, I don't know anything.
we're gonna be. It's just basically where we're able to fully grind up a battery, and then we can recycle the cobalt and the lithium out of it. We can recycle the
Where so
plastic from it. Everything, the whole phone can be recycled basically
so
back
you're
into a phone.
Palmer's actually really right on this on the topic, and you kind of made the transition seamless for me. So they've actually done this with the Apple iPhone 9 series watches. It's entirely renewable, recycled cobalt, everything that Palmer just mentioned. They have actually implemented to these
Entirely.
watches. The Apple 9 series watches, they've actually integrated all the things that Palmer just mentioned about the recycled cobalt and these renewable resources have been put into these new watches, and I think that's really cool. I think it's dope that Apple has taken I guess an initiative against the e-waste
Yeah.
issue that they propagated. I mean, they
Yeah.
created this issue. Everyone else was everyone else was playing fair ball. We can share our devices. We can do this, that,
Oh
and
my
the other.
god.
And Apple's like, no, you have to you got to buy our
That's why I
stuff. And
love
so
you,
I think
bro.
it's
Yeah, literally, it's the fucking it's like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like
yeah,
we
yeah.
filled the oceans up, and now we're taking initiative to stop that,
We're gonna take a stand. We're gonna
and we're gonna
charge
make
that
you pay
hill and
for it,
lead the way.
and we're gonna make
And
you
you're
pay
gonna
for it.
pay for it.
Sounds
Fucking
like the
Yeah,
United
and
States
that
government.
wow.
well, it sounds like an American corporation if I've heard of one.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of American corporations, and this is something where I think
That
Keaton
is
can
cool
really
though,
help
Will.
out, Wesso can really help out, and Palmer can help out. I want to dive into AI, what it means to you all, the direction you all see it going, and is it something that we need to pursue more, hesitantly, or is it something we need to just get out there? Let's treat it like the Wild West. Let's let some of this AI,
Definitely not.
take over. Well, that's why we're talking about it. I'm eager to hear y'all's opinions.
Definitely don't need to baby it though.
I feel like if you kind of keep it shackled, is it really even AI?
Yeah,
But it's also like I don't want it unshackled. I mean, if AI is listening to this, sorry, bruh. Nothing personal, but like
you're
I don't
crazy.
know.
It would
Yeah,
have.
we can't go out as humans and create something more intelligent than ourselves, because after that we open up an entire world of just possibilities of things out of our control. If there's a way that we could keep it regulated and contained, then do everything that we could possibly do with it, because it could change the world. But if you let it slip from your grasp, it can also change the world in a way that we're not even prepared to deal with.
I mean, I
I
do, and
agree.
I
I agree with.
understand that. I mean, but like, okay,
And
all
odds
I'm
are,
saying
what it,
is I like Chat GPT. I feel like if we have robots, like that's as far as I feel like AI and those type of computer systems should really go, is to do mundane tasks, to answer questions quickly, to, you know, do your taxes, just bullshit that you don't
Yeah,
want to do, you know what I'm saying?
to
But once people
to
are
fill
starting to
some of
put,
those.
yeah, once people are starting to put these things in fucking humanoid bodies, then we got a problem. That's wrong. I mean, it's just weird as well, honestly.
yeah, but then you can get to the argument of, well, you want them to do mundane tasks, they could still do mundane physical tasks, like take the trash out and just shit like that, like just your own little personal sidekick bot, little shit. But thing is, odds are, like, the technology that we have with AI, what they show to the public is probably about 5 years behind what's actually going on.
Yeah, you're
Like
100% right.
Chat GPT, that shit
That shit's probably been used in the
been a thing.
military. Yeah, been
Yeah.
a thing. Like,
Um, and that was like a revolutionary breakout to us in what, 2022, like
yeah.
chatbots.
And Snapchat like put their little chat bot on there and like
Yeah, and it's
Well,
at
oh,
this
actually,
point it's all
actually,
about collecting data. It's all about collecting data, because as they grow and develop these chatbots and these artificial intelligence, it's all about collecting the most data possible, and they can use that data to make their systems even better.
yeah.
So these chatbots are doing pretty much, they're just building a wider database of knowledge for just artificial intelligence in general. And
okay,
I
I
think
agree
that's what
with
the
every.
creator of Google actually is pretty much using Google for at this point. Just build a wide range of database of just as much knowledge as possible. And I think that fucker wants to like put that in his brain eventually. Like everything of that Google knows into his brain, the creator of Google. Like I'm pretty certain he said that that's why he made Google.
I mean, that's his prerogative, I feel like. I feel like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
you know what I'm saying? If he created it and he wants to do it, then fucking all power to you, man. Just because you know, it's not like the knowledge of Google is going to give him the ability to fly. So, I
Yeah, but
mean,
I'm glad he'll get to know how many times I've Googled why are my farts hot.
yeah,
I don't give a shit about this Google Tycoon's initiative,
yeah.
what his big picture plan is, his grandmaster scheme. I could care less. Here's what I want to talk about with AI. What's going to happen to the grocery bagger at my Walmart? What's going to happen to the guy that has to
All
get
right,
under the hood
you're right.
and change my oil? And that robot takes his job. What's going to happen to some of these folks? I'm all bored. I'm all aboard for pushing our society forward, progressing things, but I have a real worry for some of our low skilled laborers. And I guess, the proof is in the pudding, right? I use the phrase low skilled. That is the way that society would like to demagogue these folks. But it's a real issue. I think it's going to happen at some point. And, how do we handle that? As a nation, do we cope with a massive influx of lost jobs and lost opportunities? Or do we look at it from this perspective? Is the AI so beneficial and so all encumbersome that it creates millions of new jobs for the working class American?
Both.
I just
Like
got back. Sorry, I didn't hear anything
it.
you said. But
Hold on. I have a little hot take on this. I I think will like how you see in all these dystopian movies stuff like that how there's such a divide between the rich and the poor. Well, I
Yes.
really feel like that is caused by, like you said, AI being able to take the job of someone who changes oil or washes floors, or, like if you're a janitor, it's over for you. Like you said, if if you wash windows, it's over for you. The thing is it weeds out low skilled people that don't want to live up to their potential, I feel like. And
So
you
you
either,
you look at it almost
as a good
you
thing.
look at it almost for the view. Okay, I honestly like that take where you kind of like it's almost like a John Locke, survival of the fittest kind of thing where it's natural selection. Like you either adapt and outperform the AI, or the AI is more important and more beneficial to the society
Yeah,
in
because
conjunction
that's
than
what I'm
you
saying.
are.
Because it's all about like, it's all about like the number one thing in your life should be spreading Christ. And how do you spread Christ? By progressing your society and by progressing your society with Christ. And when I have a robot that's able to do a bunch of different shit that I don't want to do, like take the trash out and scrub and do all this different stuff, then you have more time to go out, do stuff, go out and be, like, especially I think it would help the family as a whole to come back to, one as a whole together, because you have someone who's going to be able to mow the yard. You've got someone who's able to do all those mundane tasks, and then you're able to spend more time as a family. Now, I know what you're going to say, and other people are going to take advantage of this, and they're going to be able to sit around, and then it's like, well, I don't have to be at home because I have something that's doing all this shit for me. And that's another thing, is it's just, it's always going to be people and their choices at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the only benefit that you could really take from AI in a way that is useful to us is having it work for you. If we start working for it, or it just takes all of our work, or just
Yeah.
surpasses us in just our day-to-day capabilities, then we're in trouble. But if you can have it work for you, then by all means.
Well, I guess the fundamental argument from that becomes
But you need to do
can
work.
it can an AI be more valuable than the weakest link in your community?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I
yeah.
look at the fucking
So
bums
we
on the street. Now, I'm not saying that all homeless people are bums when I say this, but when I look at someone who I look at, and I know they're one, not a veteran, because I just, you can, like, one, I've talked to a lot of veterans, and you can tell when you speak to someone if they're a veteran or not. And, and that's not that they're saying that they're a veteran. It's just this guy. some of these people, and they mostly are men. They feel like you feel like they just have no education. They have no drive to ever get an education, and they just want to sit around and be homeless, and they're okay with living on the street. And you see California, I mean Skid Row. Like I feel like all of those people in Skid Row, if we just replaced all of them with robots, just imagine even how much better it would be in fucking California. I mean,
Well, I
Replace the
think
homeless with robots.
you
I think
replace. I
with
mean,
AI,
you kill all the homeless. That you just basically kill all the homeless.
okay, that's from Hitler, but
No,
okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't think you kill all the homeless. I mean, you need to have the homeless in rehabilitation centers, not putting them in
Yeah, it's just
jails or
broken
anything
people.
like that. Yeah, it's
Well,
just
this
So people are just broken.
this is my take on it. I think one beneficial outlook on AI could be, you know, they can take some of that mundane, repetitive jobs, factories, you know, low level construction jobs, whatever, and a lot of people will be out of work, but I think a universal income would come in after that. And then think about it, a
you're
lot of
right.
people can pursue like creativity jobs. Once there's not going to be any kind of jobs and everybody's needs and wants are going to be met, what's going to be, first and foremost? Oh, okay, let's focus on rockets. Let's make art.
I was gonna
Let's make
say,
video games.
honestly, Keaton, if it were to go that direction, that excites me more than anything. If
Oh yeah,
AI can, can fix, just our mundane tasks like we've all kind of alluded to, where people could focus on creativity, like, you know, performance arts or like scientific creativity, like discovering new, renewable energy sources or ways to transport people quicker, whatever it may be. If that's where it gets to where the average Joe um, can be more concerned with big picture issues instead of just maintaining status quo, so I can keep a roof over my head and put food on the table
Yeah.
for my family, then I think we see a new enlightenment
I
period,
was about to
almost
say
almost a
that's
new
how you
renaissance.
yeah, that's how you change the entire that's how you change the entire um world. Like
Brilliant take,
that's how
Keaton.
you bring people together like
well,
more
Br-
just like cuz
brilliant take.
yeah, for real.
I mean, if you think about it though, we have so many issues with our government and peace and the homeless issues. Not everybody can focus their whole day onto these issues. But I mean, if none of us are working our mundane jobs, we have to have something to do. So why not start correcting our governments or
Yeah.
start trying to beautify our countries and peace and
Agreed.
Yeah.
exploring the universe.
No, I feel
Like we'll
that
have so much more time to advance in that situation.
instead of being a trash man and you can't make rent,
Right. And then there's only
you
like
know.
five brilliant minds that
Yeah.
can only. There's geniuses all the time that are maybe middle school teachers or,
Yeah, exactly.
garbage men.
Like that's what I'm saying. You could be a garbage man and like you just didn't have the right resources and you just weren't put in the right spot whenever, or you were just born in the wrong place. You were born at the wrong into the wrong atmosphere and like, whenever you got like a garbage man's a good job though when you really think
Yeah,
about it
Certainly.
nowadays, like
no, and I
nowadays,
feel
you
like
make like $35,000 a year, and you got full benefits, and that I mean, that's what you got to have. If
Yeah,
you,
but if I could be some kind of gunsmith or some kind of painter,
oh,
I
that's
would
what I'm saying.
much
I'd
rather do
much
that.
rather
Yeah.
do that. Like, would you rather be a painter or a garbage man? I mean,
Right.
I
There's
don't
something
know.
that Elon Musk said though about AI that I think was kind of interesting how he put it. He was like, it was on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was like, "What do you think about AI destroying us or something like that?" And he was like, "Well, I don't think it's going to be like malicious or anything like that. It's just something that will have to happen for their advancement. It's kind of like when we put a road down in the middle of nowhere, making a highway, and there's an ant hill. We don't think twice about destroying that ant hill. We're just building our road. That's how it'll be for them. It's just something. It's just we're an ant hill to them for their advancement."
I ain't
right.
no,
Yeah, well, we've
I'm not no
created something to
anthill.
think.
It's also sort of the way that
Yeah,
we could look at an ape or a monkey,
I'm
like
an
very
anthill.
similar,
I'm an
but
ant with a
we're
rocket
just
launcher.
far superior, and their idea of life doesn't really mean a whole lot to us when we just go about our just our day.
our our daily day. Yes. So this is actually kind of helps me bring it towards this point I've been wanting to talk about, because this is something that's kind of been on my mind for, I'd honestly say, since maybe 2020, since kind of COVID first came about. And it's kind of unrelated to COVID, but I think it's a symptom of it. Have you all noticed that the idea of celebrity, at least with our generation, has kind of seemingly lost its value? You know, like, it's still nice to have fame, I guess, or nice to be very recognized, but I think we're turning to a point where, you know, celebrities got to pay to play too. And what I mean by that is, just because you have some sort of, I guess, social status or stature, it doesn't necessarily translate into currency the way it maybe would have in, the 60s to early 2000s. I think a lot of people our generation could care less if you have a million followers on Instagram, could give a fuck if you had 50K on TikTok or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think our generation demands transparency, quality, and thoughtfulness from whatever medium or product they're consuming. And I'm super excited, and I want to hear what y'all think about that take.
Well, bro, I wish I could say the same. I really do. Um, because I feel like for the most part, our generation is quite opposite of that. I feel like they're all about the quick culture and the hot topics, and
Yeah.
I just feel like we, as a whole, focus way too much on that. I feel like we're
Yeah.
lost in a way from
I was
that
about to
stuff.
say, I feel like the same way.
I feel like
I'm
everyone's stuck in that, and that's what my boy Top G would call the Matrix.
Yeah.
I think in a way I can understand what you're trying to say. There'll never be a superstar anymore like Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? There's not gonna be
Yes.
superstars
Yeah,
anymore.
it's the quick culture.
Everybody's gonna be kind of famous. It's not gonna mean anything.
It's just the quick
Ex- it,
hot topic.
yeah. Everyone will
TikTok did a
have their
lot with
15
that.
minutes of fame. So fame won't mean as much. As kind of, yeah, Keaton
Oh,
put
it
it out. I
doesn't.
mean, he kind of tied the bow onto that. That's exactly what I was saying. I think we've gotten to a point where fame is so, I mean, available and accessible, that it almost doesn't mean what it would have used to. I kind of could see our society go in a direction of, like, the way your sheriff was treated in his town in the 1800s. It's like, yeah, that's the sheriff, good guy, hardworking, honest man, the honorable guy, and that was it. Nobody, worshipped their sheriff. Nobody was on their, went back to the dinner table and was like, "Did you see what the sheriff did today?" They might talk about putting some bad guys in jail, but no one fawned over men back then. No one, had a poster of Young Thug half naked in their bedroom back then, like, or in a
Yeah.
dress or
No,
whatever. It may, like
nobody was really idolized like people
you
do
didn't
today.
idolize men, you idolized God. And I think
Yeah,
that the people that are paying attention, the people that listen to this pod, I think they get what I'm putting down, and I think that they're headed that direction the same way I know the men on this pod already
right.
have. I mean,
There could
I
be a
speak for
revolution
myself that
eventually.
I could care less about whoever it may be. If Joe
It
Biden
all
was
gets
sitting
old.
next to
It
me,
all gets old.
yeah,
Yeah. I
if I
get
was,
super tired of more of the generation that I see, like our generation. We just kind of, like Marcus was saying, just everything is so quick to say, or like. And another thing about our culture is, like, you're guilty until proven innocent, and it's not the other way around. And like
agreed. I mean,
whenever
because it's
you
the law.
were, yeah, I mean, but like, that the craziest thing is, like, the law states that you're innocent until proven guilty. but
Yeah,
people
people
are
just
trying to
like the
fucking
hot
like.
topic,
That's what
bro.
I'm saying. Like like you see one thing, and that's what I'm saying. The hot topic shows up, and people are just running with it, and like that's just so lame.
Nobody
Like,
has a brain for themselves.
yeah, nobody thinks for themselves.
That's like,
This like it's like this it's like this it's literally crazy because it's the weak gathering together to form one strong person against someone that you see that's a strong, usually a male figure, but sometimes a female figure. Not always has to be a male figure. You know, like
I get what you're saying.
it's
They,
and like, all right, I'm gonna be kind of hot take here, but it's usually the weaker bodied and personal feeling of mine, weaker minded liberal person they pack together, and that's how they create their strength.
yeah, so it's more of like a large collective of an idea that they introduce. And if you don't agree with the idea,
They can just
they
shut you out.
the it's the way that the culture and the media, social media as a whole, can throw an idea out there, promote it, and make it look like everybody feels the same way. When, like we said, like probably on a pod before, the average person doesn't feel that way. But the
I
way
think
things
both of
can
you are
be,
right.
Yeah, that it's that
I
clickbait
think
culture.
it is.
it's that clickbait, it's that cheap story, that short hot button issue. Something that Palmer just brought up that just I just kind of want to riff off this. I just saw a parallel from it. There's irony in liberalism in the sense that it preaches what? It preaches that the ultimate way to satisfy is to live to serve the individual, yourself,
Yeah.
in whatever facet that may be, right? But we all just spoke about how at their core they find their strength in pack and spreading their pack messaging, what their herd feels. Conservatism is based on the idea of the community centered around church, helping one another, close knit, tight knit, smaller tribal communities, correct?
Yes.
However, fundamentally, it serves the individual in a more freeing capacity than the left could ever imagine. And we all know that. You know,
Yeah, and
we
also
all have,
there's one preacher. There's not multiple preachers up there.
yes,
There's one
yeah.
strong leader of a preacher that sits there and tells you the word. You know.
I've just always found it funny that to them it's so much more freeing, but they're all doing what the other one thinks.
Yeah.
If you're talking to a conservative, you're going to get in an argument if you start talking politics
Even
because
if you're
we
another
do have
conservative.
differences. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we are individuals. We are a party of free ideas. There's conservatives that think that climate change is literally not an issue.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Matt Gaetz and some few more. I'm not going to go into the whole, ticket that's part of this, but they want to call it, the Democrats have the Green New Deal. Matt Gaetz proposed something called the Green Real Deal. Let's address real issues, instead of taxing people to death because of their carbon emissions or whatever you may have. Let's let's use those tax dollars to come up with solutions and new tech and new ways of innovating instead of using those tax dollars just as a penalty for you know the climate monster. And those are the discussions that are going to have to be had, but it was cool to hear Palmer's take. I think that's one that people really need to hone in on and think about uh in your head at night. But
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
going to dive into my favorite segment. Y'all
The
know what it is. It's
The
mailbag.
the
Mizzy
mailbag,
bag.
the Mizzy mailbag. And we've got three that I want to go with today. This first one's coming from Maddie Sword, and it's pretty relevant to what we've been talking about. Do you always vote in general elections?
Of course. You
I'll just
have
go
to.
ahead. Yeah, for me personally, since I was able to vote, I voted in every general, and I've even voted in primaries as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to vote. I mean, that's your right and your privilege as an American. Um, but also, I do it because whenever, like Joe Biden, I didn't vote for Joe Biden, so it's not my fault. I'm the guy.
Yeah, well,
I'm that guy who points fingers. I point blame at people, and that's just me. And so that's where I'm pointing blame. And that's just how it goes.
I think that kind
well,
of that
you can't
situation kind
complain
of
about a policy.
I
Go
mean, hold
ahead,
on.
Keaton.
I just think that kind of that attitude really is what's kind of divided America, whether it be on the left or the right side. I think, we're not trying to come into an agreement with each other. It's just like, hey, it's my way or the highway. And I think on both sides, it's not just one side or the other. I see it on both sides. I think we really need to take in consideration of everybody together. I mean, predominantly, I would say I'm more conservative than anything. That's just my views. But, gotta kind of have that empathy and instead of just pointing blame at people and just being like, "Hey, you caused this," just be like,
No,
"Hey, man,
but
I
that's
hope
the
you can see
thing.
the issue
But
with
that's the
this."
thing is I'll sit there and explain it to them why that they're the issue, but I'll also sit there and explain it to them and say this is what I was talking about that couple months before we had the general election. This is what I was trying to convince you of, and you were still saying, "Oh no, 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 I don't believe you." Blah blah blah. Because I said that. I said this shit about Joe Biden. We said this stuff was going to happen. We said once he gets in office, he's shutting down the pipeline. And nobody believed us. And they did believe what we were saying, and they were the ones who wanted it. And, but that's the thing, though. At a certain point, when someone messes with your livelihood enough, you can't be you can't want them to it's not that I don't want them to do well, it's that I don't care if they do well, because I mean they're the ones who have caused most of Americans now to be over $10,000 in credit card debt as a family household. I mean, there's what's it called? There's more foreclosures on houses than ever. I mean, I guarantee you, in the next 2 years, the housing market's going to crash again because of all these shooty or shoddy loans that they're giving people. They're gonna end up upside down. But I'm trying to tell you guys, I have liberal family members and I love them to death, but I don't agree with them. And when I told them about that this was going to happen, they didn't believe me. And now look.
I just think the approach, though, you know what I mean. Like if we're talking about something that's very important, like politics, um, and basically you're just calling them dumb and being like, "I told you so." That's not really going to convert people or
Well,
have
but
them understand your point of view.
I had been nice before. I had given them facts. That's the thing about most people, though, especially today. And that's another thing with our culture. You can show someone facts, and they still will not believe you. And when that is happening, that's how you know, one, that you're almost in the end of times. Because when fact is irrelevant, then everything is irrelevant.
Yeah, but I
And
mean, I just
you
don't
know,
think it's the right way to go about it. I mean, it you know Christ calls us to have compassion and to love each other, and we got to understand, even though I see this issue is not correct or this is a wrong way of thinking about it, these are human beings and they have to have some kind of reason to come to this thought. You know what I mean? So I think just kind of
I agree.
just to dismiss this person based off their life experiences, and
Yeah, I agree.
I completely dismiss them.
but then it's just like, Christ's whole message was to have
I agree.
compassion and
I just
forgive
can't
each
help
other.
but feel like they were led down the wrong path.
Yeah, and exactly, but you're not going to lead them down the right path by calling them stupid.
No,
You know what I
that's
mean?
no
Well, I
way
never
to
said that I
win
was
somebody
calling them
over.
stupid. I didn't never say that. I
Well,
just said that
basic.
I know that I vote every time, so I can say that I did my part. That's what I said.
Well,
Like,
I
We have to
think
be in this
Palmer. Yeah,
together. We have to be in this
that's what
together. It
Palmer
just can't
meant.
be like a pointing fingers
yeah,
kind of
I'm
thing.
not
Calm down.
pointing fingers. I'm saying I did my part and you didn't do your part. That's the thing though. And that's the
Yeah,
thing. And that's the
he's
thing
saying you
is
can't.
nobody has accountability. Like you're not holding them
No,
accountable. I mean, you're just letting them
I
get
knew
away
what
with
Palmer was getting
whatever.
at.
I
I knew
mean,
what you were getting at. You can't. Somebody can't talk to me about policy if they didn't vote for a policy. Is what
yeah.
I
I
mean.
mean,
Like
you
you
know,
can't talk to me about political issues if you didn't. And like I get it. Like you have the freedom of speech. Like you literally could talk to me about political issues, but your opinion is invalid to me if you don't exercise that right. Like if you didn't go study a candidate, look at their voting record, look at their messaging, look at their funding, all of that, and you have an opinion on it, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I've
yeah.
talked to Democrats that could tell me all about their candidate, where their funding's coming from, why they, what part of Karl Marx theory did they like, why did it resonate with them.
Huh.
I think all that stuff is hogwash. I think it's lunacy. But if they come to me with that
Hey,
information, I will
I'll
actually sit there
respect
and
him.
have that
Yeah, I was
debate.
about to say, but I'll
Yeah,
respect
I'll
him
sit
because
there
he's
and
gonna
have that
sit here.
debate.
Yeah, because he's sitting here and
But
actually thinks he
Telling
knows
you
what he's
how you
talking about.
feel.
Yeah, he's telling me how he
yeah,
feels in an intellectual way. So I have respect for him
but
that he has enough brain power to go and do research on the topic that he had.
Or at least
exactly.
know why he
But
thinks the way
let's
he
not get
thinks.
exactly.
But like
But let's not
also
spend too much
hold
time.
on, but I just want to say this. I have almost less respect for someone who didn't do their research and just saw someone off Instagram or saw
Certainly,
all their friend groups saying that they hated Donald Trump,
certainly,
so they voted for Joe Biden.
certainly,
I mean,
certainly.
that's like you said, that's mob mentality, and that's wrong, and that's not holding people accountable, and that entail will create a weak society.
Agreed. But we can't spend all our time on Miss Sword's question. We're gonna go right here. This is Billy Rottweiler 78. He wants to know.
God bless.
No, we're not gonna. No, nice
We're
try,
gonna have
man. We're not gonna use.
we're not,
Yeah,
we're
we're
not
not
gonna
gonna use his
Rottweiler, get out of
question.
here, brother.
Yeah, that was foul. All right, let's go to Ben Sparks 17. He wants to know, how do you deal with being rejected, whether in business, relationships, or maybe like playing sports, I guess is an example. But how do we deal with being rejected? It was a broad question, but I'm assuming he's meant in like whatever the capacity could be. I actually want to hear y'all's answer before I give mine. So whoever's ready to
Marcus
go, or
Keaton.
you
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to realize that your moment in anything will come eventually, and if it doesn't come in the exact instant that you expect it to, or the way that you thought it was going to come, it's nothing to get too down over. It's just something that
agreed.
you can learn from, and just be prepared. Ask yourself why you were rejected. Be prepared for the next opportunity, and just anytime you're knocked down and get up, you learn from it. And I think that is how you grow in life. Take all your downfalls, all your rejections, and you just learn from it. And I think that progresses your character. Um, and it's all. I thought Daniel Jones threw a pick there. It's all everything that happens to you in life. It's for a reason, and it's to make you into who you're supposed to become. So you just take it on, you live with it, because not everything is going to be roses and sunshine and flowers. You got to go through everything you're meant to go through.
I
What was
can.
the, what was
I'm
the
with you
question
on
on
that,
that?
Wesso. Yeah,
Keaton.
so the question Ben Sparks wanted to know, he wants to know, how do we deal with rejection? And I'm assuming he means in like every facet of our lives, whether it's women or business or, sports, even like trying to make a ball team. I think he just means it broadly. If you're not ready, I think I can take a stab at it.
I mean, so many greats have been rejected in so many different ways. If
For
That's
me,
if they
true.
would have quit, would have been it.
for me, I've always looked at rejection like this. And I try to look at stuff pretty, on its face for what it is. It's kind of like always how I've tried to live my life and view things. So I would always look at it if I've gotten rejected. The first thing I'm going to analyze is me. What was not attractive? What was negative? Was it the way I spoke? Was it my posture? Was it whatever it may be? I'm going to start looking inward and see what's the problem. What is the problem that you presented to that individual? I don't necessarily think I have many problems at all, but people would obviously disagree. Just about anybody could come up with one problem that I have. So I spend my time looking for the they think is an issue, and if I think it's maybe worth fixing, or if they're valuable enough to me to go fix it, then I'll fix it. If not, I move on to the side. Um, as far as jobs go, if you want that job, you're going to fix it. As far as sports go, if you're not making your free throws, or you're not hitting that hole hard enough in football, or
At
you
practice.
can't sprint with the rest of the soccer players, you got to practice. With women, no, that it gets a different story there.
Yeah,
You
that
can only work on it so much. After a certain time, man, it's just not yours. It's not worth your time, is how I look at it. I mean, I think all of us have been rejected by women at one point or another. And,
yeah.
sometimes it bothers you, sometimes it doesn't. That'll be the never ending story of man and women. I can't really give anyone
Yeah.
too much advice. I'm not a married man on that one, Ben. But Keaton, Paul, what do y'all think?
Um,
Go ahead,
well, I
Keith.
mean, I mean, I guess it's kind of a cop out, but not really. You know, I kind of look at it in a more spiritual, I guess.
Okay.
So, I mean, of course, I usually pray before big decisions, or if something's on my mind or whatnot. And, I pray to the best of my ability. And, I trust in God that whatever I'm going to be accepted in or rejected from, that, it's God's greater plan. And even though I can only see straight ahead of me, I can't see around the bend,
Yeah.
and God can. It's just, I kind of see it as like when you were a child and you see a stove, you don't know what it's going to be like, but you want to touch it, and your mother's
Right.
like, "Don't touch that," and then you just kind of trust in her that it's like, "Okay, I don't know what this is, but mom's saying not to touch it." That's kind of how I view it. So if it happens, it happens. If it don't, then I don't beat myself up. I know that God has a greater plan for me, and I trust in that.
Exactly. That's how I like it. It's all meant for you in the end.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. It's all meant for you in the end. So just keep going.
I mean, that's if you're a Christian, that should be a given to you. But um, I think on more,
Bro, how is Debo Samuel
yeah, I was
hurt
about to
every
say,
other game?
he's always on the ground. What was the question one more time?
How do you deal with
Dealing with
rejection?
rejection.
Yeah,
Oh,
dealing with
okay, okay, yeah,
rejection.
I had a good thing for this. So, whenever I used to be rejected, I used to think that the person who rejected me either had something wrong with them, like you were saying, or that they just didn't understand what I was trying to tell them, or it was always just something other than myself. And I feel like, really, before you become a Christian or just turn to God, you really don't uh, accept that, like, at least for me, I couldn't accept that I had many, like you said, Will, like many flaws at all. But I have a lot of flaws. But also, like, whenever you get rejected, and like, I think people in here can attest. Whenever, like, I just don't give a shit. I mean, that's how I've lived through life. I mean, you have to. The only people that you should care what someone else thinks about you is you should care what your parents think about you, your grandparents think about you, and your spouse, right? And also your neighbors. If your neighbors, you should always be nice to your neighbors.
If
But
you have children.
yeah, I mean, but your children, your children could love you over anything. I mean, like I also think though like whenever you are being rejected, the number one thing though is to like just look at it why you think you were rejected, figure that out, and then just don't let it happen again. I mean, like you said, it's like the same fucking answer for every time that somebody asks this. It's basically just keep going and like get back up, get back up, get back up. But I mean, that's literally the only thing you can do. And I try not to plan as much.
Just listen
Yeah,
to
no, I
Carousel by
agree.
Travis Scott.
Yeah. Well, let's dive right into this last question. This is coming from Clara Conley. She wants to. This is lighthearted. What's everyone's favorite color and why? I'll go right away. Favorite color is green because it's the color that God chose to paint the land with. Simply, that's why I like it.
I'm probably going to go black or white. They're just always appropriate. Just always
Yeah,
appropriate.
makes complete sense.
I mean, for the longest time when I was a child, green was always my favorite. But
Mine
honestly,
was blue growing up.
as I've gotten older, I've really starting to take liking to orange. I don't know, it just kind of just a like a happy color, and I don't know, I just like it really.
Yeah,
Really a
no,
big
I get
opinion
that.
behind it.
Mm,
Palmer.
I my favorite color technically, I mean, isn't it's a mixture of two colors, so it's
Purple.
no, it's cyan, but more like turquoise, I guess. Um no, actually cyan, I guess, or teal would be more my
Okay,
favorite color. Um
so like a greenish blue kind of thing going.
yeah, but I mean if we're actually talking about just a one, like if you had to pick on the color scale, I'm going to go black.
Yeah. Black
Okay,
just
why
Darkness, bro.
why black Palmer?
Darkness.
Just just darkness. I get
Darkness.
it. Well,
I
thank
just
you for
like
the
it's just
question,
clean.
Clara.
Yeah.
Just clean, cool, and sleek, just like the OUTBUR pod. So we want to thank the fans for their generosity of sending us these questions, staying engaged, staying tuned. And with that, I'm out. I'm going to turn it over to Palmer, and he'll wrap this thing up for us.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the OUTBUR podcast. Um, if you haven't checked out any of our other videos or any of our other podcasts that we have made before, please be sure to check it out. I do not know what episode this is. The episodes got a little jumbled up, I know, but it's all good. You got to listen to everything a little earlier, so that's always great. Be sure to check out the PGA Versus, the Rainbow Six content. There will be a few vlogs coming of the Keeneland content coming up soon here in October. And then also there's going to be content coming of the GIE Expo in Louisville. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And as always, thank you for watching. Please give a like, comment some more questions for us. And as always, thank you guys. I'll turn it back over to these dudes.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, I just want to say, reach out to management, Clara. Give me a call. Maybe you could be my new favorite color.
There you go.